My 25 male father, 55 male, had an affair with my fiancée. 25 female original post. My mom died 4 years ago from cancer and me and my fiancé, I used to go to his place for dinner. Nothing unusual about that. He was lonely but lately his mood had improved and I was about to find out why. So yeah, my dad invited us over to dinner. And then after dinner they told me they needed to talk to me. Which was odd to her dad. We needed to tell you something. Turns out they've had a sexual relationship for over 3 months and me being a moron asked how many times I was starting to hyperventilate at that point and they were both reluctant to share that. I eventually got the full story. I won't write that here, painful enough and feel stupid for asking. I walked out and left them both and told Dad, you want her, you can keep her. You're both finished with me. He told my fiancée to give me the keys to my apartment. She was crying as she was struggling to get the key off her chain. I did it for her, gave her the other keys back and told her I would pack her things and she could come over and pick it up. When I was finished, her mom came over and picked up her things. She actually sent her mom to do it. I let her in and she had gotten the full story and was so sorry for everything and hoped I would get through this. My dad and I guess ex-fiancé now has been texting and calling me for the last week, not responded or answered any of their calls. And my dad even called the cops because he was worried I might hurt myself. Oh, geez. Thanks for the concern for my mental health, Dad. Maybe you should have considered that before screwing my fiancé. So I get 2 officers at my door who told me they had received a call from my dad, worried I might harm myself. I told the officer I was not suicidal and explained what had happened, and they both looked disgusted and apologized for bothering me and what I was going through. The look of pity from the officers made me feel worse. I just felt ashamed having to tell these 2 guys that I'm not sure why I felt shame. But I did anyways. Dad wants me to talk to him. I have no idea what to do here. I have no other family, no aunts or uncles, and now no fiancé either anymore. I have kept busy by going to the gym and trying to live my life as normal as possible. My fiancé has moved back with her parents, but she's apparently still in contact with my dad since Dad keeps texting me that she is worried about me. Apparently I'm the a-hole here since he feels that I should not treat her this way. So yeah, I am a hole here apparently. I mean, why do I even do here? I've ended it with her clearly. But then there is my dad, who is now trying to fix things and wants me to forgive her. I honestly just want them both to leave me alone. Now for the top of comments, before reading the updated Zealous Ideal Goose 87 bra. I'm sorry my ex-husband had an affair with my stepmom after we had been married for 9 years and had 3 kids. My own father told me it was my fault for bringing him into the family and not being the wife he deserved. Then 100% disowned me for leaving his cheating ass. Seriously, my dad and stepmom take him and my kids on vacation and to financially support him. I was the breadwinner, which meant I emasculated him and they've not spoken to me since I started the divorce. The trash took itself out. You deserve better, toot snoot. Seriously, my dad and stepmom take him and my kids on vacation and financially support him. Your father is going on vacation with a guy who screwed his wife. Are they trying to be a throuple or what? I'm sorry, that's insane. Well, it's my password, 73. Tell your dad not to contact you again or you'll have to file a restraining order. He doesn't get to choose how you respond to his betrayal. Do it in text and make sure to let him know your mom would think he was the worst dad ever and she'd never forgive him. The officers didn't think less of you. They felt less of your dad. No one will judge you for what your dad and ex-fiancé did to you. Cheating defines that the cheater, not the one cheated on. PS2, you may be moving to a new city and starting fresh would be awesome for reticle perception. My dad and I guess ex-fiancé now has been texting and calling me for the last week. What was their concern for you while they were hooking up? Both your father and your girlfriend are garbage people with garbage morality. They're not concerned about you. They're too busy with their own narcissistic performance art and trying to manipulate you to actually be worried or care about you or your well-being. At most, they don't want everyone to know what truly morally bankrupt people they are and are simply doing damage control. Your sperm donor does not deserve the title of father and should never be viewed as such again. No decent human being, let alone decent father, would do what he did to you. It's not just the trash girlfriend who is at fault. It takes 2 to tango, as they say. Block them both. Do not respond to either of them. Do not waste another minute of your life on them. Find a way to move on with your life without either of them. Always remember that this is who they both really are. Your father wants you to talk to him so he can feel better, not so you will feel better. It's still all about him. Now, for the update. Update 1. Hey everybody, thanks for all the messages and advice. I did not expect this post to blow up as much as it did, but I just wanted to post an update on how things stand. First of all, I'm doing okay. In fact, I've slept well these last few nights and had support from some unexpected places. Many of you wanted me to go public and tell everyone. Well, I did not have to. My now ex-fiancée took care of that for me. She told her best friend, expecting sympathy. Instead, she raged at her. And now most of her friends and mine are now fully aware of what has happened. Her best friend called me and we spoke for over an hour. Apparently, whatever angry thought I may have had regarding my now ex-fiancé was nothing to what her and her friends subjected her to. They have completely cut her off, and they even asked her if she slept with any of their fathers. Her best friend also told me that she still believes I will forgive her, and that she wants me back. Not happening and seems to be a little, shall we say, unstable right now. She seems like a total wreck. I also spoke to her parents and told them to give her time and don't kick her out. I honestly, despite what she did, don't want her to do anything stupid. Her parents are probably more pissed at her than I am. I also met Dad. We spoke in person and honestly, the reason we spoke is that I wanted to pick up some things from home. I had a friend of mine with me just in case I felt the urge to punch him. He made no attempt to small talk in. My friend was walking very close by me like he was expecting me to attack him and was ready to restrain me if that happened. So that's the update. Girlfriend is a nervous wreck done by all her friend. Her BF and I have become good friends. No, we are not sleeping together or anything like that. But she has supported me and we have kept talking on the phone. She had been cheated on herself, but she cannot even begin to imagine what I went through. Honestly, I feel okay. My dad, I have cut off completely after I got some of my mom's things, including her wedding ring. I'm taking this, I told him. He did not argue. And you can have this, and gave him my engagement ring. Not expensive. And honestly, I did not know what I was going to do with it anyways. He just looked at me and now it finally dawned upon him just how badly he had messed up. I also told him to stop telling her that I may forgive her. You are messing with her head and she needs to realize it's over. He said he would not contact her again. And I told him I did not care if he did or not. I got in the car and left and felt a lot better. So that's the update, folks. I may have gone too far with the ring business, but honestly, if he wants her, then he can marry her. I've had great support from many people, including here, and ready to move the hell on. But if you have any questions, I can try to answer if anything is unclear. Final update. Hi. Just decided to post one final update. Since I have been bombarded with questions on how I'm doing and if anything has happened, I'm doing okay. My dad and ex-fiancé have not contacted me at all, and have left me alone. I've had moments where I felt lonely and angry, but I had people who have been there for me. My ex-fiancé's BF and I have gotten close and we decided to go on a trip. Me and her, we are not together, but we have gotten close. Dad and my ex-fiancé, like many predicted, have been talking and so on. Spotted them together in town. I kind of suspected it would happen. It honestly does not bother me. They deserve each other and just thankful. I found out before I married her. More people have found out what happened. Now that I know her, have lost a huge part of their social circle. So, I guess with many disgusted with them both, they found each other. Misery loves company after all. I also made it clear to my other friends. If they want to contact her and talk to her, that also does not bother me. I don't want to control anyone or make anyone feel they have to stay away from her because of me. I'm not going to be a vindictive a-hole that only hurts me in the long run. So to summarize, I'm doing okay. Still seeing a therapist and have gotten close to my ex-fiancé's former best friend. I do get depressed and feel anger and lonely sometimes, but I have learned to deal with it. I spent an entire weekend cleaning my apartment to get my ex-fiancé's perfume smell out of my apartment, since that was a big trigger for me, and decided to buy a new bed and a new couch and redecorate it a bit. So the old bed and my old couch. And honestly, it feels like a new apartment, a fresh start if you will. Thanks to everyone for your advice, concerns and comments. They helped a lot and needed to vent about it. Story 2. Do I leave my honeymoon / I 35 female don't know what to do about husbands. 41 male drinking. My husband and I just got married and are on our honeymoon. However, his drinking has been over the top, and this morning I think I hit my breaking point. After everything this morning, I know I can't forgive him with just an apology, and it will take time and action on his part. I don't want to leave our new marriage, but I'm not sure what to do with the rest of our honeymoon. We have 9 days left in Europe together. What do I do? What would you do? He went out by himself last night and came back in the wee hours of the morning, absolutely hammered. We'd already been out to a late dinner with quite a bit of wine before he went out, and I was ready for bed. After a day of traveling, I asked him to stay in with me, but he was hell-bent on continuing to drink. When he returned, he was just nasty to me. Woke me up, turned on the telly, and played music to keep me awake. When I asked him to be respectful of me wanting to sleep, he went off. He got in my face, called me names to my phone against the wall, and was raging jealous over what seems like the fact that I had a dating history prior to our 7-year relationship. Please, no comments on 7 years to propose. His marriage was not something that was important to either of us until recently. The context of it all was so odd. I left the room while he slept it off, but upon returning I found myself not wanting to hear any of his apology history. He is a binge drinker. He doesn't drink weekly, but when he does, there is never just one drink. It's a full-blown binge session that will last all night in the sunrise. I vocalized my concern with this many times, suggested therapy or AA, but everyone, friends and family, tells him he doesn't have a problem since he isn't a daily drinker. Over the past year, his mood has changed significantly. When drinking, he has gotten more angry, jealous, and mean when drunk. He quit drinking for about 9 months, but now it's back with a vengeance. I don't know what to do about the rest of our honeymoon, but I send him home and stay by myself to Liz. Do I attempt to forgive him and postpone working through it until we return home? I can't forgive him right now. I feel like his actions have tainted the memory of what I thought was going to be a beautiful time in our lives. And it's going to take more than an apology for me to move forward. Help, this is such a mess. Now for the top of advice. Honey, I'm sorry. Please, no comments on 7 years to propose. The fact that you think this is what people will focus on after describing a horrific scene of drunken abuse tells me that you have already normalized his behavior. I've also been in a relationship with an alcoholic with anger issues and have been in this exact scene. So I am not judging, but reading echoes of a story I know all too well. Him getting angrier and meaner as the abuse escalating. It will continue to worsen as long as you put up with it. The only chance of anything changing is if he commits to quitting drinking entirely. And you already know he's not going to do that because you've discussed it multiple times. I suspect you're focused on the honeymoon because it's easier to laser in on a single situation than it is to admit to yourself that you're in an abusive relationship and need to get out, especially so soon after getting married. I would leave if possible and spend some time apart to contemplate what you want to do at this point. If you want to try and salvage things, the only path forward is an ultimatum for him to start recovery. He has to want to stop drinking though, and that's not something you can do for him. Be aware as well that while alcohol may exacerbate his issues generally, the anger issues that come out of drinking are pre-existing and do not disappear when someone's sober unless they work on that in therapy as well. I wish you luck. My ex made all sorts of promises and unfortunately never followed through. I only left when he put his hands on me. Mercy G. Pence this, I am an alcoholic, 55 female in remission. I've been drinking for 14 years. When I stopped and it took a suicide attempt to get me into AA and rehab. I was a binge drinker as well and I tried to start fights all the time, especially in bars and with people way bigger than me all the time. Pound 120. I thought for 3 years sober I was diagnosed bipolar and finally got medicated properly where I had, through my drinking, been trying and failing to medicate myself. It was a tough process, but I just shut up and did everything I was told. For once, I was able to keep my marriage intact and then go on to have a beautiful family still free of alcohol 26 years later. Level 2. Agreeable salary, 7 hours ago. This opus, please call a domestic abuse hotline in your area. I think they will do worldwide calling and talk to them to get a better sense of what to do and how to handle this and stay safe. The only chance of anything changing is if he commits to quitting drinking entirely. And you already know he's not going to do that because you've discussed it multiple times. This gives a bit of false hope. I think it's really important to note that your husband doesn't just have a drinking problem. He is an abuser with a drinking problem. If he quits drinking the mindset and behaviors that he has been displaying, he will likely continue to do sober. Although it might seem as though things have improved at first, don't beat yourself up about not knowing this. It is very likely it wasn't always as bad as this. Many abusers step up their abuse right after marriage and on the honeymoon because they feel like they can get away with more. Since it will be harder for you to leave, it isn't impossible however. Be safe. Story 3. Coworker male 40 invited me female 18 as a friend to his place to hang out. He male 40 invited me to his house as a friend. Female 18. This guy that I met at work or my co-worker has told me and my students that we are friends and that I should come over to his house to hang out sometime. He never said to do what exactly. The worst thing is that we both work at a school and he said it in front of my students while I was working. He also stood outside the door after the bell rang and told me we could talk during my lunch break or whatever. I currently live with my parents and he says if there are any issues I could always come to his house. We have only talked once and he kept mentioning that he lived alone and he was single. The problem is that there is a large age gap. I talked on the phone with him once because he doesn't like texting. He says texting is for kids and he's not into kid things. So he never replies. He gave me some advice on my job and said I can come over whenever I'm available, and at any time I'm not physically attracted to him at all. He also sounded somewhat aggressive on the phone as he was telling me that he doesn't like the way people walk over me. He said that he protects, is loyal, and is trustworthy. He mentioned that in the future, if he could trust me, then I could work at his health business and he'll take good care of his employees. He told me I'm the only one that knows about his business because our other co-workers are fake. Currently, he has a degree in psychology, which he says is useless. Is he just trying to get in my pants? Or is he really a supportive friend? Edit: I will block him and delete his number after I get my evidence. I'm going to create a trail and let my supervisor know if he keeps it up. And that's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below.